Hello and welcome back to At Ease No Media, where we discuss media related topics at ease. So, today we will be talking about the cultural study. We'll explore how media, from books to the internet, shapes and reshapes by culture. I will walk you through the key thinkers like Richard Hoggart, Edward Taylor, Raymond Williams, Malinowski, Stuart Hall, John Fiske, and others. We will also understand frameworks like the circuit of culture, encoding, decoding, and cultural industry. Let's begin with a small story to understand culture and media ecology. Imagine a girl named Mira who lives in a village. Her grandfather reads the newspaper every morning. Her father watches TV. Her mother listens to radio in the kitchen. Her brother is addicted to Netflix. And Mira spends most of her time on Instagram. Now think, how does each medium shapes their view of the world? They are all exposed to different realities, even while living under the same roof. This, my friends, is what we called media ecology. Got it? The environment of communication technologies shapes human perception and social behavior. That means someone is watching television, someone is watching radio, someone is reading newspaper, and someone is indulged in Netflix and Instagram. This is the media ecology. So now talking about media ecology and Richard Hoggart, what we can say that media ecology is the study of how media and communication processes affect human perception, understanding, and society. The concept, what we are talking about, the concept is closely tied to the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies, as known as CCS, Triple CS. So, founded by Richard Hoggart in 1964 at the University of Birmingham. Where it was founded? It was founded in the University of Birmingham. Hoggart studies how working class, that was the actual study, how working class culture was being transformed by mass media, especially in the post-war Britain, alright. So he believed that traditional working class values were being diluted by commercial media, which created a passive consumer culture. Here it is the same thing. So according to Edward Taylor, let's take a step back. What is culture? Culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge. Culture is not a single term, it's a complex whole term inside which we have knowledge, we have belief, we have art, we have moral laws, we have customs, and any other capabilities acquired by man as a member of society. As you can see, the media ecology, in the center we can see the media, and it is surrounded by the books, the cinemas, the television and the internet, the radio and the newspaper. Now what is culture? Culture means the knowledge, the belief, the art, the moral customs, and the capabilities to acquire by man as a member of society. Now talking about the theoretical perspective on culture. If we consider the theoretical perspective of culture, let's look at different theoretical lenses. What we have? We have cultural materialism. What is cultural materialism? Cultural materialism stated by Raymond Williams. Williams said culture is ordinary. According to Sir William, culture is ordinary. He introduced cultural materialism, which connects culture with material conditions like class, labor, and production. For him, culture includes both high art and everyday practices. From Shakespeare to street slang. Culture is from Shakespeare to street slang, according to cultural materialism, Raymond Williams. Culture is not only the best that is known and thought in the world. It is also the meaning and values in everyday life. Now we will be talking about the structural functionalism. Malinowski and Radcliffe Brown, they saw culture as a system, where every part has a function, every part of the culture is a function of religion, economy, the religion, the economy, the family, the media, everything is shaping the culture. All work to maintain what? Maintain social order. For example, Malinowski studied the Icelander of Trobeland. There was a Trobeland of the Icelanders and showed how rituals and myths serve social purposes. According to him, culture is nothing but the mixture of religion, ecology, family, media, everything. Now, the third, we will be talking about the social interaction by G.H. Mead and C.H. Cooley. This scholar emphasized how identity is formed through social interaction. Cooley's looking a glass self. We develop our sense of self by imagining how others sees us. What we do, how others. It's like the Obihu, Johari window. So everything is kind of similar. We can make a relation between these things. We learn to see ourselves from others' perspective, right? We develop our sense of self by imagining how others see us. We learn to see ourselves from others' perspective. This is said by Mead's role talking. Now, the circuit of culture and encoding and decoding. If we talk about the circuit of culture, the encoding and decoding, it was stated by the famous Stuart Hall. Now let's move on to Stuart Hall, where we will be studying the one of the pioneers of cultural study. As far as culture is concerned, this is a huge concept. Under cultural studies, we will be studying about several authors. He introduced the circuit of culture, a model to analyze what is circuit of culture. Circuit of culture is nothing but a model to analyze how cultural products are produced, consumed and interpreted. The five moments are the representation, the identity, the production, the consumption and the regulation. For example, let's take an example. Think about a Bollywood movie. Its representation of gender, the identity it constructs, who made it, how it's watched and how it's censored, all are part of the circuit. So taking another key example, that is the encoding and the decoding. Part of 1980s, the media producers encode messages with intended meaning. Media producers always encode messages with intended meaning. The audience decode them based on their own cultural background. That's why two people can watch the same film and walk away with two totally different interpretations. Words spoken are always interpreted according to the person, according to the receiver, right? So what is cultural industry? Cultural industry was stated by John Fiske. John Fiske challenges the idea that audiences are passive. We know audiences are passive. So he argues that popular culture is made by the people, not imposed by them. Even within capitalist system, audiences can resist dominant meaning and create their own interpretations. Through memes, they are creating memes, parodies, remix. That is the interpretation part of the cultural industry, which actually reshapes the concept. A political speech turned into a viral reel. How? Because people are not just watching media, they are reshaping it. This is the essence of resistance within consumption. So, to wrap up, cultural study helps us see how media is not just about information. Media doesn't talk about information, but about power, about identity and meaning. We talked about media ecology in Mirror's film. In the study, first we have talked about the family of Mira, where Mira is using social media, Netflix, her father is watching television, her grandfather is reading newspaper, her mother is watching, listening to radio. So this is the ecology, right? So Richard Hogwarts Birmingham School, which will be studying. Taylor Broad defined a culture. So if we talk about this culture, so what is culture? How can we define culture? Culture is a subjective term, as it is stated that culture is from the street slang to the Shakespeare language. Culture refers to the set of shared values, right? The belief, the customs, the behavior, the symbols, and the practices from the slangs of the streets as well as from the language of Shakespeare. What a beautiful line. To define culture, it's a complex term. Understanding culture is a hard nut to crack, right? We are studying culture, it's a very difficult portion to understand. So, culture refers to the set of shared values, belief, custom, behavior, symbol, and whatnot. Practice that learned and passed down from one generation to another within a society. Culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, moral, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. Culture is a system of interfered conceptions expressed by symbolic form of means by which the means of communicate, persuade people, their attitudes towards life, its culture. So, if we talk about the key characteristics of culture, we might say the learned, not inherited. Culture is not inherited. My father's culture might differ from mine, and my son's culture might differ from mine. So, this is learned, this is shared, this is symbolic, this is integrated. Types can be maternal culture and non maternal culture, types can be material culture and non material culture. Physical objects, there is different physical objects. All right, so if we consider the examples of this particular culture, the language, we can talk about the language, the non material language is the non material culture. Example, Hindi, I am speaking Hindi, I am speaking English, I am speaking Bengali, that means I am belonging to a particular, I am sharing a culture. Different communities use different languages to communicate, this is culture. Cultural roles means language transmits tradition, rituals, and collective memory. Diwali in India, celebrating Diwali in India is a tradition of customs. Lighting the lamps, family gatherings, exchanging sweets. Similarly, the culture of the US, the Western countries, sharing a meal, expressing gratitude in a Thanksgiving, having wine together is their culture. Our Indian culture doesn't allow having wine together with the family. So, food habit also comes under culture. And if we talk about media culture, it also states that what we are consuming, it's also culture, because in today's world we are having multiple options. Media culture is the culture that emerges from the consumptions and production of media content. What media content we are consuming, it shapes how people see the world, behave, and interact. So, reality shows and social influence. Someone is watching Big Boss, that is also media content. Someone is watching Big Bang Theory, that is also media content. Someone is watching Friends, that is also media content. That is their culture. They are liking it. Someone is watching some other what to say, other cliche content. Now, cliche, you might state, you might think some particular content cliche, some particular content might be feeling cliche. You might be considering a particular concept as cliche, some other might not. So, Big Boss India, keeping up with the culture, promotes celebrity culture. Now, influential cultures on social media we have these days, the Instagram, the Reels, the TikTok. Now, suppose someone is not aware of the social media, then are they deprived from culture? No, they are having some other culture. Cinema and cultural imagination is there. There is Marvel film promotions, there is heroism, there is nationalism, there is individualism, there is feminism. The Bollywood film, some might be considering subscribing to the Bollywood film, some might be considering subscribing to the Hollywood films, some might be watching Netflix, some might be watching Amazon Prime, depending on their culture, on their background. Now according to the new media and public opinion, some might be consuming, some might see that the news channels entertaining, some might see that the news channels misleading, some might see the news channel as drama, as script, some might find the news channel as the source of only information. So this culture differs. Media culture in theory, if we talk about the media culture of theory, we must know about Stuart Hall, the encoding and decoding part. It produces the encoding meaning into media. Audience decode based on their own culture. Right? About the context, the Theodore Adorno and Max Horkheimer stated the cultural industry. The mass media standardized culture to maintain capitalist control, which we have discussed previous day in the Frankfurt School. Now, if we take an example of this Theodore Adorno and Max Horkheimer's culture, we can say that all pop songs start sounding similar. Now, John Fiske stated that media and popular culture audience are not passive. They interpret and even resist dominant message. Fans create alternate endings for memes. So this differs, right? In short, media culture is not just what we watch or consume. It's how we think, how we feel and act in a world saturated with media. I repeat, today's world is saturated with media. I'm also creating media content. I'm creating academic content. But if you search on the YouTube, there are plenty of academic contents. Right. So thank you for connecting at ISNO Media, where we discuss media related topics at ease. Tomorrow we will be studying about the components of cultural studies. Thank you for joining. Stay blessed. Stay happy.